Hey, editing Tim here. So, I wanted to clarify something before we get into the actual video. My audio is going to be a little bit fuzzy here and there, and it's going to have a large room echo because unfortunately I'll get to the issues of why that is later on in the video, but I don't want to get too much into it here. I want to say real quick that this video is going to be a little bit shaky, kind of like a rant, and there's no broad structure to it other than an outline I wrote beforehand, like 5 minutes beforehand. I've wanted to do this topic for a while. I just didn't really feel like I wanted to write down a whole bunch for it. I wanted to kind of let my ideas flow as they were. So enjoy what is probably a very unhinged sounding rant from what sounds like a lunatic. Maybe I'm over exaggerating. I probably am, but I'll leave it at that. You enjoy this video, and I promise I'll have more interesting stuff, more philosophical and psychological stuff coming in the very near future. This time for real. So, yeah, enjoy. Alrighty, hopefully this is working now. There's going to be a few mistakes here and there within this video. I don't feel the need to try and edit all of it out because the more I stick around trying to edit these videos, the longer they actually take to get to you. So with that out of the way, I want to give a brief update before I go into the topic of this video, which you probably already checked by reading the title of the video before maybe even seeing the thumbnail. Yeah, my life is strange, I guess. I'm not actually able to record in my recording booth right now because of issues regarding my foot. I am still in a walking boot and am not able to actually sit at a proper recording desk. But with that said, I'm still able to do recording physically and would like to still put out videos in some capacity. So since it's been a long time since I've done actual proper videos and I don't feel compelled anymore to try and have any major sense of professionalism regarding the quality of the audio or necessarily the visuals either, I'd rather just focus on the content of what is being said and not try and restrict it too much to a heavy script. So with that said, please excuse the echo and some of the lack of flashy details like I used to have in older videos. I honestly took a lot of those down for that very reason. I don't want to set any more precedent with that. I'd rather this be the new precedent. This is the new normal. We're all living in a new normal anyways. This is hell world. Let's have some fun. So, speaking on the idea of why we want to do anything anymore, I kind of want to get into the idea of what compels us into going further beyond our current state of being anyways. So, while many people often ask the question and it comes up in a very existential manner for many people, why the hell do we do anything? What is the reason for us to do anything? What is the purpose? Why the hell am I here to do shit? And I'll make it kind of simple. What compels us to go beyond our further current state of being can typically be brought up in around 7 particular ways. So let's start with the first one and the most obvious one. Necessity! Yes, some people have needs and desires and wants that they have out of the world, but mostly we have needs that come first and have to be taken care of initially for us to be able to get anywhere or do anything or be able to survive and live in the first place. So many people will often go out of their way to do things in this world because they need it to live, such as go and get food, grow a garden, maybe be able to work to have a wage to pay for things, such as running water or a roof over their head. Necessity often dictates a lot of what we do. It's almost like programming is for robotic intelligence. And I use robotic intelligence instead of artificial intelligence, which I'll get into a later video. For now, let's focus on the topic at hand. And with that, I want to move on to reason number 2. Sparks of creativity. People get sparks of creativity for random things quite often, or at least most people do. And with that, many people will come up with different ideas that sometimes may not always be unique, but they feel a random spark of inspiration and take action on it. That can compel someone to often go out and do something despite not having any other reason to do so in the first place. It may not even come from what is considered by many people to be a rational place, but it still exists regardless. And in many cases, we have wonderful classics to thank for that. So, yes, thank you, sparks of creativity that we sometimes have no rational explanation for. Reason number 3 as to why we do shit: inspiration from previous works. There are plenty of reasons why we would find inspiration from previous things that have been done and previous topics or examples that can be brought up for many people who we consider to be classics or even masters of their work, such as the artist Vincent van Gogh or even many philosophers in the field of philosophy. They took from creatives and minds before them. Even Albert Einstein, with his theories involving understandings of astrophysics, they often came about in around the same field or time as other people who were coming up with similar ideas or even shared ideas with Einstein. So the thing is that the reason we credit Einstein with his theories is simply because he beat many of the others to the punch. And in the case of Van Gogh, it was more so that he gained a lot of recognition because his work had a specific style that he stuck with, even though it was usually a copy of somebody else's work in some instances. So with that in mind, why do that in the first place? Well, we get inspiration from other people's works. So if we want to do something, sometimes it's good to have a drawing place or drawing board for us to pull from to be able to go and move and do our thing. Reason number 4 as to why we would do something: inspiration from emerging nature. You ever heard of the idea of painting and oil painting out in nature, or the notion of trying to paint the sea or depict nature in its most natural elements? Yeah, many people, many artists especially, will try and depict nature in its most raw formats, sometimes even with photos, since paintings are usually not as raw and detailed as photos, especially nowadays. But with that being said, many people still find inspiration from emerging nature in other ways, such as in technology that we have nowadays that are being built and build off of the designs that have emerged from natural selection, where we have many forms of robotic technology that are being built to meet the needs of humans from the anatomy and the structure of animals, and are being utilized in such instances as being able to have technology that can better allow for easier transportation, allow for growth in large agricultural fields, and so on. Next, of course, reason number 5, we have one of the more popular ones that people know about quite infamously: modes of gain such as capital or profit gain. That would be a very good reason to compel almost anyone in our current society to do anything, especially. Even if it isn't out of necessity, people will often do things simply because it earns money, and once they have that money, they can do other things with it that they may want to do more than the often menial and unfavorable acts of labor that are usually required to procure that money. So that's a reason in and of itself for wanting to do anything. Reason number 6, seeking to improve, innovate, or expand. And this one's kind of a broad topic, but it'll be less broad than the last topic. Seeking to improve, innovate, or expand, we often want to try and improve upon ideas that have already been done before, just like how I mentioned previously with Van Gogh. We often see the ideas that people of our predecessors have provided and think that in some ways we can either do better or build upon it in some capacity to where we can utilize it in a more effective way, such as public transport, from going from old train cars to high-speed railway systems. That would be one example. And with that, I want to sort of get close to closing out this video rather shortly and briefly by mentioning number 7, the wild card. This one, I kind of feel like I'm grasping at straws, to be honest with you, regarding how we approach and look at things regarding reasons for doing anything. Many people would rather look at classics out there in the world and think that they can never do it, not because they feel that they'll never live up to greatness or feel that they can never be capable of such things, but they feel, why try if I'm never going to receive the recognition or ever have it be known outside of myself? What does it mean if it is only from within my own perception? And honestly, I think that's kind of the big telling point for a lot of people. And if you don't realize kind of what I'm getting at, I'll leave a link to a video by Savannah Brown on why, for her case, she felt that sometimes she could write her best piece ever, or also, on the other hand, just go to bed. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel. This doesn't even have to come down to an existential point of view or point of view of trying to drive oneself to do things from an economic standpoint. It could be simply from the standpoint of, do I think I can improve in any way, or should I just forget about it and spend my time doing something else? And I think in that case, give it a shot. Why not? What's the worst that you can do with it? That would be the wild card, in my opinion. And with that, I end this brief video and ramble. I don't know how well edited this is going to be. Probably not too fancy of editing. And if I use footage, yay! I included something other than a blank screen or images and text to accompany this. I don't know why I say that now. I always do that. But for some reason, I feel like I might be compelled to do that even less because I want to make these videos quickly enough for people to understand and look through these ideas quick enough. With that said, thank you so much for watching and listening. I have more videos coming down the pipeline, including ideas such as talking about robotic intelligence, talking about personality typology, and a few other things that I want to get into. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to be making some people angry in future videos. This one was fairly tame, and I wanted to come back to making videos starting with something tame, because from here on out, I think I'm going to have people who get sometimes angry in the comments. So hang tight, new stuff is on the way, and as always, thank you for listening.